Live.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Tonight's class will be on durar Bahiyyah fil Masail al-Fiqhiyah of Imam al-Shawkani rahimahullah ta'ala. Last week we started Kitab al-Hajj, the chapter of Hajj, and we were speaking on the importance of al-Hajj in Islam and the tremendous status of Hajj in Islam, and what Hajj is symbolic to in al-Islam, and many of the manifestations of Islamic history and the history of humanity, let alone the history of different religions and faiths, in Hajj, specifically talking about Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, and what he laid down, what he established, the trials and tribulations that he and his family went through, and the symbolicism and the manifestation of that in our Sharia. And we know that Allah Azza wa Jalla has clearly told the Prophet ﷺ to follow the way of Ibrahim. Then we gave you the revelation, O Muhammad, to follow the way of Ibrahim. Ibrahim, who was not a mushrik, he was an idolater, he was not a Yahudi, a Jew, quote unquote, nor he was a Nasrani, quote unquote, a Christian. Rather, he was Hanif, he was Muslim, and he had nothing to do with the mushrikeen. So Hajj is considered to be one of the manifestations of his way and his sacrifice and his struggle. And we know that the Quran al-Kareem is full of the story of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and the different parts of the story of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Now, we have verses in the Quran that deal with Ibrahim alayhi salam with his father. And we have verses in the Quran that deal with Ibrahim alayhi salam with his son and with his sons. Ibrahim with his people. Okay? Ibrahim and the angels and the Prophet Lut. Many different parts of the story of Ibrahim's life as a child, as a young man, as an old man, etc. Now, and al-Hajj is a very important concept of the things that he and his sons did for the struggle to establish the Tawheed and the monotheism and the worship of Allah the Mighty and the Most High. And we also said that Hajj is very important with regards to understanding the prophetic seerah. The prophetic seerah. And the Prophet ﷺ's relationship with his family and his kin, with Quraysh, with Banu Hashim, with Abu Talib, all right, the Meccans, the pagans of Quraysh, why they rejected his message as a whole. Some of them accepted it. Why they fought him. Why the Quran says what it says. And why there are certain practices that remain from the way of the pagans of Quraysh, such as making tawaf around the Kaaba. And we know that they didn't institute that or make that. That was something which remained from the way of Ismail alayhi salam, from his father Ibrahim alayhi salam. But we have non-Muslims, whether they be Christians or atheists, who say that Islam and the Muslims, they say that they don't worship idols and they have nothing to do with idolatry and polytheism, but the Muslims have the biggest, greatest idol of all religions and faiths. Bigger than the great Buddha, bigger than this wooden statue of Odin, bigger than this statue of Christ or Mary or this one or that one. They have a huge, gigantic black cube, which they walk around. And they say that they kiss this cube, they pray to this cube, they face this cube. And they say it's a huge idol. And they say that Muslims are not being honest when they say that they don't worship idols and they only worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there are some of them who say, or we have 5%ers or Hebrew Israelites, and they talk about Allah being the moon god Allah, and how the black stone is a piece of the moon. It's a moon stone, like a moon ring, and they kiss it and they worship it. And then there are those who say that there's polytheistic worship, making the circumambulation 7 times in the different planets, in the orbit of those planets. And the list goes on and on and on and on. These people, to a blind eye or a deaf ear, or someone who's unsuspecting, who doesn't have that much knowledge and weak-minded, they may fall for these things. But when you study Hajj and the establishment of the Kaaba by Ibrahim and Ismail, and the descendants of Ismail, the descendants of Ishaq and Yaqub, so on and so forth, then you see where it comes from. And that the whole establishment of the Kaaba, who erected it and established it, was one who fought idolatry and polytheism and idol worship. So something is clearly not making sense now with your claim, with your argument. Your claim and your argument. It's not making sense, all right? Let alone the fact that a person who's a Catholic or a Christian or something like this, they're the last of people to accuse or to criticize anyone of being an idolater or a polytheist, so on and so forth. Khairan, inshallah. Now, the concept of, we said the history of humanity, history of formal religions, history of Islam, the prophetic seerah, etc. All of those lessons are connected and tied to Hajj, stoning the Jamarat, let alone Eid Adha, slaughtering an animal for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right, the Tawaf, the Zamzam, the Safa, the Marwa, all of those things are what? Connected. And the more and the stronger your understanding is, and the richer and the deeper your contact is with Ibrahim and his story, the more you can appreciate and value Hajj. The more that you can appreciate and value it. And how it is a school, a madrasa of tawheed, a madrasa of sacrifice, of tarbiyah, okay, of thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the list goes on, of the lessons of Al-Hajj. And it's much more than just traveling overseas, paying thousands of dollars, doing this, wearing this, slaughtering this. It's much more than that. It's deeper than that. And if the Muslims who go and make and perform Hajj, if they only realized it, their Hajj will be better, and the Hajj of other people will be better, and the Muslims will be better as a whole, if they understood the core essence of Al-Hajj. The core essence of Al-Hajj. Right. Moving forward. So those are some of the spiritual aspects of Hajj. And now we have the technical aspects of Hajj with regards to actual rulings. And we explained the first line of the book in which the author says, يَجِبُ عَلَى كُلِّ مُكَلَّفٍ مُسْتَطِيعٍ فَوْرًا. Every person who is mukallaf has to do Hajj immediately, as long as they are capable. We explained that. فَصْلٌ فِي الْإِحْرَامِ. And then he says, يَجِبُ تَعْيِينُ نَوْءِ الْحَجِّ مِنْ تَمَتُّعٍ أَوْ قِرَانٍ أَوْ إِفْرَادٍ وَالْأَوَّلُ أَفْضَلُهَا. He says, and then you must specify which type of ihram you are going to make. You must designate your ihram. And what's meant by ihram is not just the clothing, but it's the specific mode of your Hajj. Which way are you going to make your Hajj? Whether it is that which is called tamattu', whether it is that which is called qiran, he says, or whether it is that which is called ifrad. So he mentioned three types. Tamattu', we have qiran, and then we have ifrad. And he says, and the first is the best. The first is the best type of a Hajj, which is called a tamattu'. And a simple, easy breakdown of the three, as a tamattu' is like a daily double, a double bubble. You perform Hajj, and you perform Umrah, obviously Umrah coming before Hajj, together, but you come out of the Ihram. You come out of the sacred state. You go to Saudi to perform Umrah. You make your Umrah, you finish your Umrah. Then you're done your Umrah. You're out of Ihram, physically and metaphysically. And you remain there in Saudi. You remain there in Mecca, Mathalan, or Medina, whatever it is. Al-Muhim, that's a detail in itself. You remain in Mecca, keep things simple. And then when the time for Hajj comes, you go back into Ihram. So you make an Umrah and Hajj together, but separated. Then we have Qiran, in which a person makes Umrah and Hajj in one Ihram. In one Ihram. They don't come out of the sacred state. Whether it's the physical sacred state, the clothing, not trimming the nails, the hair, or the niyyah. And then we have Ifrad, in which a person just makes Hajj by itself. Hajj by itself. So we have Tamattu', and that's what it is. Qiran is double bubble, without no separation. And then Ifrad is to just go there and to make Hajj. Period. Done. Over. So these are the three basic types, or simple explanation of these three types of Hajj. The author says the first type is the best type. That's his view. That's the best and most virtuous Hajj to make, the first type. وَيَكُونُ الْإِحْرَامُ مِنَ الْمَوَاقِيتِ الْمَعْرُوفَةِ. And a person must make his or her ihram from the well-known miqats. A person must make his or her ihram from the well-known miqats. The miqat. We have two types or usages, Abdul Qawi, of miqat. Miqat zamani and miqat makani. Miqat zamani is the time. And we know that Hajj has how many months? How many months are there for Hajj? What are the months of Hajj? We have Shawwal, we have Dhul Qa'dah, and then we have Dhul Hijjah. Or one may say, the beginning of what? Dhul Hijjah. Everyone understand this? So these are the 3 months of Hajj. Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and Dhul Hijjah. Obviously in the Islamic calendar. These are the times for people who are going to make the first 2 types of Hajj. Tamattu' and Qiran. As far as the Ifrad, then that's only going to be done when? The beginning of Dhul Hijjah. But Tamattu', I can go to Saudi in Shawwal, make my Umrah, come out and then what? Go back for the double bubble when Hajj starts. Qiran as well. But obviously the time is going to be what? Shorter. Or you just stay in Ihram all of that time. And the Ifrad is going to be what? Right for the Hajj time. So that's the time for Hajj. Then we have the miqat of makan, of place. And that is the border, the location, which if you plan on making Hajj or Umrah, you cannot go past, you cannot transgress, you can't go any further unless you have made your intention and you have entered into the sacred state, the state of Ihram. You made the intention, your heart, your tongue, and also the physical things that you are not allowed to do, such as covering the head, trimming the nails, putting on cologne, etc. Everyone understand this? So you're not allowed to go past this place with the intention of Hajj and Umrah unless you've entered that sacred state, which we're going to explain later on exactly what it is. Tayyib. Alhamdulillah, the scholars of Islam, the students of knowledge, the callers to Allah, the imams, the government of Saudi Arabia, and many other governments of other countries as well, alhamdulillah, they've put forth a great deal of effort in explaining Hajj to the people and facilitating Hajj for the people and making workshops and books and videos and pamphlets and dawah booths, phone calls, centers for the Hajj to be made simple for the people. And whether you're making Hajj on an airplane or on a boat, however you're making Hajj, alhamdulillah, there are many people who have placed a great deal of effort and spent much money to simplify things for the people who wish to make Hajj. So alhamdulillah, oftentimes when you go to make a Hajj, sometimes you don't even have to know every single thing. You just have to be there and they'll explain to you, this is when you get into Ihram, and this is what you do, and this is what you don't cut, and this is what you don't trim, and this is what you have to pay. Things have been made simple, alhamdulillah. But despite things being made simple, you always will need to know the basics yourself. You always need to know the basics yourself, and you will always need to know what to do when something out of the ordinary pops up, and that is to ask someone who knows, or to have your Hajj pocket manual and then verify that information. And subhanAllah, despite all of the money that's being spent and has been spent, and all of the efforts that have been put forth to make Hajj easy and simple for the people, you'll find there's a great deal of ignorance that remains. And from my experiences, living in Medina, and alhamdulillah, making Hajj all of those times, may Allah accept it, all of the different experiences that we had on Hajj, to me, when you're on Hajj, you get the true meaning of that hadith, "Man yuridillahu bihi khayrun yufaqihu fid din." That when Allah wants good for someone, He gives them understanding of the religion. And you know the true value of al-ilmun nafi', beneficial knowledge. And how people don't know what to do. They're confused, they're lost, they're upset. This child is missing, this woman is crying because she just got her menstruation. This person, someone stole his money, he can't slaughter the animal. And you have the ability to answer the question, to refer them to someone who can answer the question, and it can change their lives and change their Hajj. So knowledge is golden. Knowledge is golden. Everyone understand this? And it is manifested, especially during Hajj. So therefore, knowing the basics yourself, studying, listening, learning, and asking from those who know more than the basics. And from that is knowing when and where to get into al-Ihram. When and where to get into al-Ihram. It says in the footnotes here, وَهِيَ خَمْسَةٌ. The miqats are 5. 5 miqats. Al-awwal, number 1, ذُو الْحُلَيْفَةِ. ميقات أهل المدينة ومن مر بهم وهو الآن بسبب امتداد العمران في المدينة ويبعد عن مكة 400 كيلومتر تقريبا. The first miqat is that which is called Dhul Hulayfa. Dhul Hulayfa. And Dhul Hulayfa is the miqat for the people of Medina, the Madanites. Anyone else who passes through Medina. Anyone else who's going to Mecca via Medina. So many brothers, they come from America or the United Kingdom or Australia or wherever, and they go to Medina first. You don't have to go to Medina. It's recommended to make the ziyarah of the Prophet ﷺ's sacred masjid. Giving the salams to the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr and Umar. Passing by the shuhada of Uhud, the martyrs of Uhud. And the other sites, seeing Qibla, and other parts and places that are recommended to do in the Sunnah in Medina. Okay, you go to the Islamic University in Medina, you visit the Quran printing press, all right? You go visit the ulama and the mashayikh in Medina, you go and you see where Sa'd ibn Waqqas used to live and where Uthman used to live, so on and so forth, whatever is proper there in Medina. Taking a tour of Medina, right? Getting thobes made, so on and so forth, right? In Medina. And then when it's time to go make Hajj, or to go make Umrah and Hajj, you are now considered to be Madani. You're in Medina. So you're going to make your Ihram from Medina, from Dhul Hulayfa. The Mu'alliq, the annotator, he says, or she says, they say, the annotators, they say, that Dhul Hulayfa is now a part of Medina because of globalization. Because the cities and the buildings have been spread and extended. But back in the day, Dhul Hulayfa was actually what? Outside of Medina. It was outside of Medina. It wasn't a part of Medina. But Dhul Hulayfa is now considered to be inside of Medina. And there are many other places and locations like this that used to be a means of traveling or a means of outside of Mecca or Medina, but are now part of Medina. Just like the United States. Back in the day, this was outside of New York City, and now it's a part of it. It's a part of it. He says Dhul Hulayfa is approximately 400 kilometers from Mecca. Approximately 400 kilometers from what? From Mecca. How many miles would that be? 320. It's 320 miles from what? From Mecca. طيب, moving forward. الثاني الجحفة ميقات الشام ومصر وسائر المغرب وهي قرية قديمة على الساحل قرب رابغ خربت فصاروا يحرمون من رابغ وتبعد عن مكة 220 كيلومتر تقريبا. Number 2 is that which is called Juhfa. Juhfa. And Juhfa is the miqat for the people that come from Sham, Syria. That area, that part of the world, Sham, that is their miqat. And it's also the miqat for the Egyptians. For the Egyptians, the people of Misr. وَالسَّائِرُ الْمَغْرِبِ and the rest of the Westerners. The Westerners. Including who? La. Who would that include? Westerners. Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Tunisia, so on and so forth. The Maghrib, the West. Right, would you consider Egypt West or East or Eastern? Western or Eastern? Which one? Sheikh Yusuf. What would Misr be considered to Hijaz? Maghrib, or would it still be called Mashriq?
Well, if Libya is Maghrib, then Libya is border with Egypt.
طيب. Are you clear on this? So Juhfa is for Sham and what? Egypt, and that's considered Maghrib. And this is an old village that was on the coast, which was close to a place called Rabigh, which is now, it's not inhabited. And this is approximately 220 kilometers from Mecca. الثالث قرن المنازل ميقات نجد ويسمى الآن السيل. The third is called قرن المنازل. قرن المنازل. And this is the place for which the people of Najd make their ihram. Najd would include, where's Najd? Where would Najd be? Najd is in Arabia for sure. Najd would be? Huh? Riyadh, Qasim, forward to the east. What's considered Najd? Al-Muhim, you taking a course on Hajj, you learn all of the theory, the basics of the theory. But the practical stuff that you need to know is what? Dhul Hulayfa. That's all I need to know. I come from Delaware. I don't Qar Manazil, Juhfa, that doesn't what? It doesn't concern me. But it doesn't mean that you don't, what? Learn the basics of it, at least once in your lifetime. It's only going to make you, inshallah, a better Muslim. طيب. Then we have الرابع يلملم ميقات اليمن وهو جبل بتهامة يسمى الآن السعدية. Number 4 is called يلملم, and that's the place for the Yemenis. The Yemenis, that is their miqat, those who come from Yemen. طيب. الخامس ذات عرق ميقات المشرق وهي قرية مندثرة قرب الطائف وهذه المواقيت الثلاثة تبعد عن مكة 70 كيلومتر تقريبا. He says number 5, or طيب, moving forward is number 5 ذات عرق, that عرق, and that is the miqat of the east. The east would include Iraq or Persia, Iran, things like this, al-Mashriq. As we've said before, we learned from our teachers and scholars is that there are many Islamic issues that you cannot have a mastery of unless you have a mastery of what? Other sciences, such as geography, biography, botany, mathematics. These things are very important. When you start talking about the rulings of fermented dates, can you drink fermented date juice? How much can it boil? How long can it boil for? How long can it sit for? You have to have basic understanding of what? Chemistry. Basic understanding of cooking. This food, that food. When does a person become pubescent? Just because of age? You have to have basic knowledge of the anatomy. How to find the qibla. You have to have basic knowledge of what? Of direction and also of astronomy. And you also have to have some basic knowledge of what? Astrology. Even though we know the kufr and the shirk that's involved in those things. But you have to know what is this called? Pisces, Little Dipper. You have to know basic stuff. Basic things you have to understand. The North Star. The difference between North Star and Jupiter. You have to know basic things. And the same applies to the geography. Where is east? Where is west? Where is north, south of Hijaz, of Arabia? All right? And there's no reason or excuse why people shouldn't know the basic directions and basic geography. And it's very scary. You sit down and you talk to children and you pull out a globe and you say, spin the globe. What is this country? What part is this country? Go north, go south. Tell me the capital of this country. They don't even know. And it's scary. You ask yourself nowadays, what do they teach the children in school? What are they learning in school today? Because when I was going to school, and I know the brothers that are older than me even complain even more, you learned this kind of stuff. You had to learn geography. You had to learn basic stuff. You had to get basic things. Nowadays, the kids, they go to school, they come and says, we didn't learn anything. I don't know what this is called. I never heard of this country. And that's sad. And the same applies to students of knowledge. You have to be sharp and strong in other sciences as well to be sharper and stronger in the what? Islamic sciences. Tayyib. He says, and that's also an abandoned village, that's Irq, which is close to Ta'if. All right. These miqats, the last three, Qarn Manazil, Yalamlam, and that's Irq, they are 70 kilometers from Mecca. So they're closer than the what? Dhul Hulayfa and Juhfa. They're closer. طيب, moving forward. He says, وَقَدْ نَظَّمْتُ هَذِهِ الْمُوَاقِيتِ فِي بَيْتٍ وَاحِدٍ لِتَسْهِيلِ إِفْضِيَاهِ. And I've placed all 5 of these miqats in a line of poetry to make it easy to memorize. A line of poetry to make it easy to memorize. He says, يَلَمْلَمْ يَمَنُ, or he says, يَلَمْلَمْ يَمَنَّ قَرْنٌ لَنَا شَامُهُمْ جُحْفَةٌ وَلِلْمَشْرِقِي عِرْقٌ وَلِلطَّيْبِ ذُو الْحَلْفَةِ. He says, يَلَمْلَمْ يَمَنْ قَرْنٌ لَنَا شَامُهُمْ جُحْفَةٌ وَلِلْمَشْرِقِي عِرْقٌ وَلِلطَّيِّبِ ذُو الْحَلْفَةِ. That's the line of poetry to memorize all 5. Right, moving forward. He says, وَمَنْ كَانَ دُونَهَا فَمُهَلُّهُ مِنْ أَهْلِهِ حَتَى أَهْلُ مَكَّةِ. As far as those who are inside of the miqats, then they make ihram from their house, where they are. Included in that are the what? The Meccans. So, a person who lives in Iraq, he's coming to Hijaz, he's going to make ihram at the miqat. Someone who lives 10 meters or kilometers or 20 kilometers inside of that irq, inside, on the other side of Juhfa, he's going to make his ihram what? Juhfa obviously is far away, but you get the point I'm trying to make. Inside of the what? The miqat. Everyone understand this? The miqat is there, I live here. Do I have to go out and then make ihram? No, you make ihram what? Right from where you are. Even the Meccans. So when the Meccans wish to make ihram, they do it what? Where they are. They do it where they are. طيب. The author rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, فصل في محظوراته ولا يلبس المحرم القميص ولا العمامة ولا البرنس ولا السراويل ولا ثوبا مسه ورس ولا زعفران ولا الخفين إلا أن لا يجد نعلين فيقطعهما حتى يكون أسفل من الكعبين ولا تنتقب المرأة ولا تلبس القفازين وما مسه الورس والزعفران ولا يتطيب ابتداء ولا يأخذ من شعره أو بشره لعذر ولا يرفث ولا يفسق ولا يجادل ولا ينكح ولا ينكح ولا يخطب ولا يقتل صيدا ومن قتله فعليه جزاء مثل ما قتل من النعم يحكم به ذوى عدل ولا يأكل ما صاده غيره إلا إذا كان الصائد حلالا ولم يصده لأجله ولا يؤضد من شجر الهرم إلا الإذخر ويجوز له قتل الفواسق الخمس وصيد حرم المدينة وشجره كحرم مكة أو كحرم مكة إلا أن من قطع شجره أو خطبه كان سلبه حلالا لمن وجده إلى آخره. قال ويحرم صيد وجه وشجره. طيب. He now speaks on the things that you're not allowed to do once you have entered into the state of ihram. The physical things that you can't do after you've placed yourself into that metaphysical state in which you have declared your intentions to perform umrah or hajj for Allah and or Allahumma labbaik, or Allah, I've made my intentions for this and for that, either of the one of the three, right? Once you have done that, and the specifics of that are explained in other places, once you have done that, now certain things you can no longer enjoy, certain things you can't wear, certain things you can't use, certain things you cannot have once you've entered into that sacred state. Once you've made the intention with your heart and you've verbalized your intention of the type of hajj or umrah and or that you wish to what? Perform. I've made my intentions to make tamattu'. Now I immediately have to avoid the following things. I can't no longer do them. Number one, he says mahdurat al-ihram, the things which are prohibited whilst in a state of ihram. The first one, he says la yalbasu al-muhrim al-qamis. The muhrim is not allowed to wear a qamis, a shirt. But obviously the word qamis has much deeper meaning than just a shirt, like we say, whether it's English or Spanish. A qamis is like that, or like this, or like that. The traditional meaning and usage of the word qamis in the Arabic language and in the prophetic time is shorter than the traditional thobe, than a Saudi thobe or Kuwaiti thobe. It's shorter, but it's similar in which you put it on from above and it covers most of your body, but it's not as long as the people wear it today. Everyone understand this? It's similar to what they call a shalwar kameez. Our brothers from Pakistan or Afghanistan or Bangladesh, other parts, brothers in India, in which it comes past your knees to your knees, even lower than that. But it doesn't cover your whole entire body. Everyone understand this? Khairan, inshallah. As we've shown you before, we've shown you this book, I think it was a couple years ago, a book I picked up in Medina called Al-Libasu wa Zina fi Sunnat al-Mutahara, clothing and adornment, according to the authentic Sunnah, and the author is Muhammad Abdul Hakim Al-Qadi. This book here, full of the hadiths with regards to clothing and what you wear and how you wear. Alhamdulillah, in the back is a very beneficial list of illustrations of things that we use or names, terms that we read in hadiths, and it's showing you what they look like according to the traditional understanding and not the modern understanding. All right? So, for example, we have al-khuf. That's what a khuf is. The khuf is not that high. It's above the ankle bone, but it's not that high like traditional socks are. Obviously, we have ankle socks and sports socks, but for like long socks, tube socks, gym socks, whatever, dress socks, which is higher up, al-khuf. And the khuf is made from leather. It's not from cotton, it's made from leather. Do cotton socks take the rulings of khufs? That's a different discussion. Not saying that they don't, but that's a different discussion. But the concept of khuf is originally leather. It has to be hide, it's leather. طيب, al-ni'al, sandals. The word na'al doesn't necessarily mean a shoe. Even though a sandal is a type of shoe. You go into a store, you go into the shoe department. Or you're looking on Amazon, it says what? In shoes. All right? But the concept of the na'al is not always a shoe, like people translate it to mean. Praying in your shoes. The Prophet's actually praying in a what? A sandal. Everyone understand this? Does a regular shoe not take the ruling of a sandal? We didn't say that always, but we said that's not the original definition. Then we have al-khuf, another type of khuf, which is higher up. And some may call it a different name. That is a what? Al-qamis. That's what a qamis is. Not as long as the traditional thobe, and it covers what? Most of your body. It is placed on from what? From the neck, above, and it hangs down. It's different than a nizar, from the bottom, the waist. And it's different than a jubba or some other type of cloak or shawl that you what? Put on the shoulders. It's a difference. طيب, then we have al-burda for men, al-jubba, al-izaru للرجال, al-izar في العصر العباسي, the Abbasid type of izar, al-sarawil, pants. Not pantalon, huh? Trousers, skinny jeans, right? But actual sirwal, loose pants. You see some brothers from Turkey or from Kurdistan or Iraq and Pakistan as well. That's what's meant by sarawil in the hadiths. The Prophet bought a pair of sirwal. He is not proving that he wore them, but he bought them. All right, can you pray in sirwal? They asked Abu Hanifa about praying in sirwal. Abu Hanifa is talking about what? This. Abu Hanifa is not talking about a pair of Dockers, slim fit, classic. What's the waist size? 38. What's the length? He's not talking about that. He's talking about what? Sirwal. Everyone understand? There's a difference here. And you can fall into many mistakes. Abu Hanifa or Malik, they're not talking about some skinny pants. They're not talking about some slit fit pants in which you bend over and you show the brothers behind you your what? Your rear end. He's not talking about that. Sarawil, they're talking about what? This. Loose pants that are distinct for Muslims. Can you pray in dockers or trousers or this? We didn't say that you can't. But that's not what? That is not a discussion. That's not the organic definition of it. Tell you. Etc. They mention other things, other illustrations. It's very beneficial. Wallahu alam. So first and foremost, the muhrim is not allowed to wear al-qamis. He can't wear a qamis. Why not? We'll get there, inshallah. What's important is that you can't wear it when you make ihram. Number 2, wala al-imama. Nor are you allowed to wear what? An imama. Back to the illustrations, right? What is an imama? Is an imama a turban? What kind of turban, huh? This is a very problematic issue now. We have cultural turbans, right? What type of turban? What's meant by a turban? There are different types of turbans, right? Turban with a very long tail, turban with 2 tails. This is a real serious fiqh issue. Or does the turban have to come under the neck?
Sikh has a turban.
Sikhs wear turbans. There you go. Down the street, right next to us. The neighbors are Sikhs. Everyone understand this? What's meant by an imama? In general, let alone the imama that was known in the Prophet's time to the Arabs and that the Muslims wore. So on this page it says imamatul mitham. Imama with a what? Face covering. Why is your face covered? Allahu alam. Sand in the desert or something other than that. Who knows? Tayyib. Then we have al-imam or cold. It could be very cold in Arabia in the wintertime. Allahu alam, huh? Tayyib. Then we have an imama wa'adbatuha min al-khalf. It's tail in the back. It's tail in the front or on the side. All right? So let's talk about, what would you say, Abdul Qawi, the turban that's closest to the sunnah and what the ulama talk about in the books of fiqh today? What cultural turban? Sikh turban, Indian turban, Afghani turban, what would you say? None of them. Sheikh Yusuf. Tawarik. The Tawarik. Or other than the Tawarik who are in North Africa, whether it's Mauritania or Libya, also some brothers in certain turbans from those who come from Sudan. If you notice closely, oftentimes they'll what? They have it wrapped under their necks. Well, there you go. Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar. Some brothers in Pakistan as well. Tayyib, in which it's under the neck and it has a tail. The tail is not extremely long. It's not just like a Sikh turban, which is no what? No tail. Pay attention. But there's a tail and it's what? Wrapped up. Now, you read the books of fiqh, you'll find many ulama who say that you cannot wipe on a turban that does not have those attributes and characteristics. And they say because those are the turbans that were worn by the Muslims. And they did not want to be like the mushriks who wore what? Turbans. Everyone understand this? Everyone understand this? Al-Muhim, we say from one thing you learn what? Myriad things. Countless things. The concept of the books of fiqh, the concept of culture, and how it has an effect upon what? The rulings. Muslims' identity. Right? Globalization. People migrating to the United States. People wearing different clothes. They all share certain things. It's all a part of the mix of the rulings. Of ijtihad, of taqleed, of so on and so forth. Everyone understand this? Inshallah, we'll stop here tonight. We've mentioned a lot. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best.